Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Believe in Bengals podcast. We're talking our post-draft show for the Cincinnati Bengals. We're going to have Adam Pac-Man Jones. He's going to be joining us on that show, as well as NFL Network media reporter and draft analyst Bucky Brooks is going to join us, and we're going to have a very special guest also joining us on that show. We just wanted to drop in right now to kind of talk about how we believe the Cincinnati Bengals did in the 2022 draft. This is not going to be the draft that we're going to look back on years from now and say, oh, it changed the franchise. But we will be able to look back on it and say it really did provide the Cincinnati Bengals with tremendous depth, a foundation, if you will, to have versatility and greater depth. Remember, the Bengals came into the 2022 draft having already secured the assets necessary to rebuild their offensive line through the free agent market. What that did, it left them really a platform to really build upon the area that really drastically needed, and that was the secondary. What did they need more than anything on the back end of that defense? They needed to add depth. They needed to add what we call position versatility, and that's what you saw them do with the first round pick, 31st overall, and Dalton Hill, the safety corner from the University of Michigan. Of course, he was listed as a safety, but he's sort of a hybrid player, right? A guy that can play safety and corner. Look for Dalton Hill to play opposite of Mike Hilton as that dime defender with 6 defensive backs on the field. Think about when they're playing against 11 personnel, Mike Hill is going to line to the strength to the 2 wide receiver side. On the backside where you have a tight end and receiver, that's where Dalton Hill is very good at blitzing the quarterback, defending against the run, where he is really aggressive at attacking blockers, detaching, and still being able to make a tackle. He's really good at covering tight ends to the weak side of that 11 personnel formation. So Dalton Hill, think of him as a Swiss Army knife in the Cincinnati Bengals secondary. I think he's going to be phenomenal. Excellent tackler, excellent dime defender. He can also play nickel. If something were to happen, unfortunately, to Mike Hilton, I don't know that previously we had the guy to replace him. Mike Hilton was phenomenal in helping this Bengals defense turn around in 2021. But should he have to miss a game or two in 2022, Dalton Hill can play both nickel and dime positions. Think of him as being multi-positional in the Cincinnati Bengals secondary. All right, the second round pick, 28th overall in the second round, Taylor Britt of Nebraska. Here's a guy that was an all-around athlete, former high school quarterback before he attended college at Nebraska. He grew up in Montgomery, Alabama. Think about it down south, a guy who's playing quarterback down there for 3 years. He's a phenomenal player, and then made the transition to the secondary once he got on campus at Nebraska. Again, multi-positional. He can play both corner and safety. He can play the nickel as well as playing outside at the cornerback position. Now, think about this. The Bengals wanted to add depth in the secondary, but they also wanted to add speed. Both players, first-round pick Dalton Hill as well as Taylor Britt, both run 4.38 in the 40. So they got much faster in the secondary by drafting these 2 players in the first and second round, but they also added depth at every single position, whether it's outside corner, whether it's nickel or dime, or even at the safety position where Dax can back up both Von Bell as well as Jesse Bates at the safety positions as well. You literally, in Dalton Hill, you got 2-3 players for the price of 1. The same with Taylor Britt. You got 2 players for the price of 1. And so I can clearly see what Duke Tobin and the Cincinnati Bengals wanted to do in this draft. They wanted to add depth on the back end of the secondary, but they also wanted to add versatility, drafting players who are multi-positional, who can play a number of positions should they sustain injury to any one of their 4 starters in the secondary, as well as their 5th dime or nickel defender in Mike Hilton. All right, we're going to stop it right there. Listen, tune in to the post-draft Believe in Bengals podcast, because we're going to tell you a little bit more about the entire draft class. the Bengals used 6 draft picks. Think about it. 3 defensive backs, 2 edge rushers, and 1 backup guard. Every single player is multi-positional, defense, offensive line, and then special teams. We'll have that and more when we come back. And we want you to join us. Just all you got to do is go to the Believe Podcast Network to see more of the Believe in Bengals podcast, as well as the Believe in Bengals post-draft show on the Believe Podcast Network. Thank you for joining us, everyone.